What came in the mail today? FedEx just dropped off a crate that I wasn't expecting to come today. What I wasn't expecting to come today is a Dart 426 Gen 3 Hemi block. It came all the way from Detroit, Michigan, made in the USA, so we don't have to worry about those pesky tariffs. And this thing is going to resolve a bunch of issues that I've been having with the Hellcat Magnum. The first issue that I've been having with the Hellcat Magnum is I robbed all the drivetrain from the green Durango Hellcat a long time ago. I can't believe how long it's been. The reason I ended up robbing the drivetrain out of the Durango Hellcat was I wanted to build a 426 and put the built tranny and transfer case in the car. But unfortunately, the parts didn't come fast enough, so I ended up just robbing all the drivetrain from my 21 Durango Hellcat, and it's just been stuck in the car ever since because I like driving this car, and I'd rather drive this car than the Durango Hellcat. The thing is, once I get the Dart 426 engine all together in the built transmission and transfer case, I can take this whole drivetrain and put it back in the Durango Hellcat, which is going to be awesome because this thing is making around 850 all-wheel horsepower, which is going to be so much fun in the Durango Hellcat. And then I could turn this car up to around 1200 to 1500 horsepower to the wheels. I'm talking about wheel horsepower, not crank. So let's open this bad boy up and see if it's coated, if it's uncoated. I'm not 100% sure. The only ones of these I've ever seen in person has been at SEMA. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's already orange. Check that out. Oh man, look at those main caps. This thing is going to make some power. Some power. Look at those cylinders. Ooh, what's in this box? Ooh, we have a sticker. Oh man, look at that. Look at that, all the brass freeze plugs. Oh, and look at these aluminum ones. Oh, that's cool. So we have our sticker, we have that. I think this is for the VVT. This is Durabond. Oh, they give you the cam bearings. Look at that. Oh, and they're already coated. I'm pretty sure those are coated with Teflon. Oh man, this is awesome. This is the bee's knees. Now I have the Dart Gen 3 Hemi block off the pallet and out of the box, and I have it sitting directly next to a factory Hellcat BGE block. And I want to go over the differences between these two blocks and what makes the Dart block far superior than the factory Hellcat BGE block. Also, some of the things that Dart ended up changing on these blocks to make them far superior and handle a lot more power out of the box than you could ever make on a factory Hellcat BGE block. And the first thing everybody thinks about is price point. And I know you guys are already thinking it. Yes, this is a $4,700 block. After shipping and taxes, you're probably looking more like $5,200, $5,300, depending on your location. And the great thing is this is a brand new casting block. It's already had everything upgraded with it. And really right out of the box, the only things that you have to do to it is final hone it to your piston size and then final deck it to your deck height, which is awesome because if you have to do all the extra steps from the factory BGE block to get it to this stage, just as it is right here, you're gonna be thousands of dollars into it. You already have main caps done, you already have ARP main studs, and you also don't have to worry about blocking off the bottom oil squirters. On stroke 426 Hellcat engines, probably on the Chevy 427s, you have to block off those oil squirters on the factory blocks because the stroke is so long, it would end up hitting those, and then you'd have a huge oil leak, then you'd spin a bearing, and then you'd be back to building another engine again. Also, another thing on the Hellcat engines is the MDS holes. Hellcats don't have MDS, but they do have the holes for them, and you have to plug them. And usually the plastic plugs that come in them, every time you pull them out, they're plastic. They always break, or most of the time, probably I'd say 75% of the time they break. So you have to end up getting, or most of the time people end up getting billet ones because you could reuse them. And those are like $200 right there. So just for the MDS plugs and to plug the oil squirters, because people most of the time just tap them, or you can get plugs that just bolt in. I think most of the time people pay a machine shop to tap them. You're looking at a couple $100 right there. So that's $400 right there just in plugs that you don't have to do the Dart block. Most of the time, the reasons people are pulling their Hellcat engine out of their car is because they've reached the mechanical limits of the BGE block. Either it's spinning bearings, it throwing a rod out the side of it, or it melting a piston because the car wasn't tuned well. And most of the time that damage severely damages the cylinder wall, where you would either have to put in sleeves or you would have to go with a new block. In all these cases, most of the time you're gonna have to end up getting a brand new block from Dodge or a used one. Used ones are $1,200 to $1,500. New ones are $25,000 to $3,000. You see where I'm getting with this. And then once you get these blocks, you have to then bore them out, hone them, machine them. They're not already set up for ARP mains, so then you have to get the ARP main studs. Then you have to have a machine shop line hone those bores after they torque the studs down. And then you have to do all the additional steps, blocking off the oil squirters, blocking off the MDS plugs, and then you have to final deck them. You're looking at just getting a used block and then doing all the machine work to not even be able to handle half of what this block can handle out of the box. You're looking at most likely close to what this block is after shipping and taxes. So might as well just end up getting this and not have to worry about the hassle of getting a Hellcat block. The other thing you have to do when you're getting a Hellcat block is worry if the block is stolen. There's a few things that you can do to prevent getting a stolen block, or if you do get a block, you can just take off the VIN number on the side and then put your VIN number on it. It's just the last 8 digits. But at the end of the day, it is a risk, and that's a reason why a lot of people are getting their cars seized by police, because they end up, if they do end up finding it, they end up finding a VIN that doesn't match, and it comes up, or it comes up hot, and then you have a engine that ends up getting your whole car torn apart by the police, which most of the time they can never see that VIN. It's only the last 8 digits, but at the end of the day, it's one risk that you don't have to worry about when you get a new casting, because at the time, this is going to end up costing you more money than this will. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to make big numbers with this block, and you're also trying to make big numbers with this block, this one's gonna win every time, and this one's gonna probably end up making you rebuild the engine over and over and over again, where you'll be $5,000 a pop, $5,000 a pop, depending on which other parts you're gonna have to end up buying. If you have to end up buying crank, another set of pistons, another set of rods, whatever it may be, because this one failed again, where you wouldn't have to do with this one. Another really good thing about these Dart blocks is they made it so everything from the factory Hellcat BGE, like the front cover, the rear main seal, the oil pan, the engine mounts, they all work from the BGE and bolt directly onto the Dart block, which means you really don't have to go and fabricate a bunch of different stuff to make this work. With one exception on the TRXs, the front differential has a mount that bolts to the block, and it says on Dart's website that you have to modify whatever it is to make that work. Obviously, we're not using this in a TRX, so we're not gonna have that issue. I'm using this into a Charger Hellcat Magnum with Durango all-wheel drive system, and the diff doesn't actually bolt. Well, the diff currently doesn't bolt to the oil pan. It's going to bolt to the oil pan eventually, but for now, we're gonna get this running exactly how the car is and not have to worry about modifying a bunch of other stuff. Eventually, I do want to have the differential in the oil pan. You'll bring everything up. I'll have a lot nicer axle angles. Another really good point is Dart increased the cylinder wall thickness, and they also made the block out of a more robust material to handle that additional power. As you can see on the factory Hellcat BGE, how much the cooling passages protrude around the cylinders and around the head stud. And as you can see on the Dart block, cooling passages, head studs, it has a lot of material, a lot more material that you don't have to worry about. Plus, you can increase the bore size on these blocks where you'd kind of get in a risky area once you came further in here. So the great thing is you don't have to worry about boring these blocks out. Another thing that Dart took into account that's plagued the Hemis is the cooling system. So the cooling system and the water jackets have all been redesigned to make this block cool much more efficiently than the factory BGE block. And the one thing that probably drew me to the Dart block over the Hellcat BGE is Dart took a lot of time and effort into the oiling system, because everybody knows that Hemis have been plagued with oiling issues for pretty much ever. So the great thing is oil comes into the filter housing like it normally would, comes out of the filter housing, but now it is a direct shot up to your cam bearings as well as your main bearings. So that means your cam and main bearings, your rod bearings, your lifters, everything is going to get nice oil pressure. And another really great upgrade is the splayed main caps with the ARP hardware. So normally on a BGE, you would just have 2 studs per main cap. This increases clamping force, plus you have these outer studs at an angle, and plus you don't have those 10 mils that go through the block. This casting is a lot thicker, which means it's going to be a lot stronger. And also, you can see on the BGE, you have like these 10 mils that go through here. This is kind of a way for oil to leak out. You can see down here, oil has leaked out from that 10 mil. I really don't think that these 10 mils, they're probably doing a little bit, but at the end of the day, you only have 2 studs per main. The factory BGE block, same port, same filter housing, and it comes up, goes through the filter, and then it comes directly straight through right here. So then it's oiling your main bearings and your rod bearings, but then it has to come up another 90 degrees and go directly to your cam bearings. The issue with this is now your main bearings are prioritized and your cam bearings and your lifters aren't getting adequate oil pressure, or they're kind of the last thought. So this is going to cause issues, and everybody knows this already causes issues with lifters and cams, and Hemis have been plagued with this for pretty much ever. And then you get MDS on there, and then it just gets even worse. So that is one thing that really, that's probably the top thing, because every engine requires oil pressure to survive. Besides having to plug the oil squares in the BGE, you're also going to have to clearance the block for a lot larger crankshaft if you're building a 426, and then you're grinding down into, as you can see right there, the cylinders, and then down here, you have to clearance the side of the block. So the great thing about the Dart block is you don't have to do that, and they have a lot longer cylinder bore. So you're not having to worry about making all these additional modifications that you would with the factory BGE. The other thing that they give you are the Teflon coated cam bearings. I can't wait to put the mesh tube cam in this and just spin it to see. I mean, they feel super slick, but that's gonna be a big improvement over the factory cam bearings. And then you get all of the hardware. So you get all your freeze plugs, you get all your plugs, you get everything you need, all your dowels, everything you need to get this thing assembled, which is really awesome. Just out of the box. Most of the time, if you're building one of these, you're gonna have to source all this. It's not a bunch of additional money to do that, but it's just the peace of mind. You get it all in the box. It all comes, it's all ready to go. You have all your cam bearings. You don't have to worry and go and source those, especially, I don't think you can get these cam bearings with the Teflon coating for these factory BGEs. I think that really goes over all the reasons why I chose this Dart Gen 3 Hemi Iron Eagle VVT block over building a factory Hellcat BGE block. Obviously, I do have this block right here and I have pretty much everything to stroke this out. It was already a stroked 426. The only issue with this block right here is that whoever built it and put it together didn't do a very good job. So it was probably one pull away from spinning rod bearings. Luckily enough, I pulled it apart. I was almost gonna throw it in my red Hellcat Magnum. That's what this engine is going to be put in. But I think when they built this, they just dropped in some Wiseco pistons into it and didn't even bore or machine anything out or measure anything. So it does have a lot of cylinder wall scuffing. I'm gonna actually have to take this and have it bored over and then honed to the correct specs. And then I could put this back together. Obviously, I'm gonna end up recoating this block. The orange is great, but at the end of the day, I think I wanna do something a little bit different with this. I might actually do something a little bit different with this. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm gonna Cerakote, definitely gonna Cerakote this one, but I'm still contemplating Cerakoting this one. Obviously, I do like the orange in the color and it's really nice. They obviously powder coat or however they coat this, they coat it before they do any machine work and it comes out really nice. I mean, this is a really nice coating, but at the end of the day, it would be nice if it was maybe red, maybe yellow, maybe a different color. I'm still on the edge of what I'm gonna do with this. Hopefully this video was very informative to all the people that are really on the edge of, should I build a factory BGE or should I go and spend the extra additional money, or not really additional money? Maybe this kind of solidified you into buying one of these because now you know that it's gonna cost you more to build one of these than it would to just build one of these. So hopefully we are getting people to kind of go the Dart way instead of getting all these Hellcat blocks and used Hellcat blocks. Really just one of those things because I have this Dart block for the blue Hellcat Magnum. And the reason I'm not tearing apart a good running engine that's in the blue Hellcat Magnum is because that engine is going back in the Durango Hellcat. It'll continue making 860 all-wheel horsepower and it'll finally be back in my Durango. I'll be super happy about that because I haven't been able to drive that or finish that for a very long time. So that'll be finally finished. We'll finally have a stroked 426 in the blue Hellcat Magnum, and then we'll have a stroked 426 in the red Hellcat Magnum, and this just makes more sense. And then the engine that's in the red Hellcat Magnum, I don't know, it came out of a 21 Charger. I'll probably maybe put that Charger back together. Who knows what's gonna happen, but we'll have 2-stroke 426s, and we're gonna have 2 spare Hellcat non-stroked engines. Well, one's going in one and we'll figure out what the other one's going into. But I'm gonna end the video here. If you like these videos, make sure you click that subscribe button. There's also, I guess, a hype button somewhere. If you find it, click the hype button, share this with your friends, give it a thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.